So I'm back at it again. You know, it's been about 3 or 4 months since the last video. So I figured I'd give you an update in true, you know, trans non-binary tradition. Um, yeah, so I guess just a little bit of recap. I didn't really cover the medical stuff because the medical stuff, is pretty commonly known. If you look at basically any other video, they'll probably cover the medical stuff. Hashtag, references, hashtag links, hashtag community, hashtag group effort. You know, you know how it is over here. Um, um, yeah, like I was saying, most of the medical stuff happened within the first couple of months, and y'all can already know what all that stuff is in regards to looks and everything like that, because I know a lot of people, they want to know what's changing. You see, it is what it is. Yeah. So some people want to know, why HRT, why this journey. Again, just trying to undo the damage that was done as a repressed queer trans black kid growing up. And I mean, literally knowing like the time and circumstance in which I had to like suppress myself, and that I knew clearly was me, but again, having to suppress myself and conform to the bastardization of what's naturally me in order to survive in our fucked up society. What do they say about thoughts make character and then action makes, I think, destiny or something like that? So, yeah, again, trying to undo that damage. HRT really just helped me feel, it really just helped me to feel more like myself in the past. So, I remember people asking me, well, do you feel different? And it's like, not really. I felt this way before. It's just that now I feel that way consistently. And before, again, because of, fucked up American society and, homophobia globally or transphobia globally, now I'm able to feel that way consistently, and I'm in a place where I can now actually allow myself to be whatever it is that energy brings out or invoke in me. So again, probably delving a little deeper than needed for this particular platform and everything and subject. But yeah, I mean, that's basically it. In regards to where I'm hoping to be, it kind of don't really matter because, like I say, emotionally and mentally, all those changes happen pretty quickly in regards, and also in regards to where I want to be and things like that. I'm at that. So in regards to, so how that ultimately manifests physically, biologically, again, I'd hope that I wouldn't become passing, hence, this. So, um, but yeah, at the same time, could I see that happening? I mean, very possibly, because again, I don't know if I mentioned it last time, I've never really been high testosterone. My body shows it. Sorry to burst the bubbles of people that think, male-female dichotomy, but again, we have movies like Everybody, Every Space Body, again, that you can see that explains, pop your bubble. It's not as dichotomous as you think. Yeah. So, yeah, like I say, what will I possibly end up passing? Hopefully not, but honestly, given how I already was, I could see that being a possibility. And again, I'm not new to this, I'm true to this. I've been in communication with, the LGBTQIA++ community, so I know how the transition goes. And again, that's very much a possibility. But again, ideally, I would want to be, androgynous in the sense of people not necessarily being able to tell, one way or the other. But I could see me possibly end up being passing, in which case, again, like I say, that's why I made sure to keep this, so I can try to have some level of not passing, but at the same time, given transphobia, homophobia, etc., particularly in America, where people don't really give a shit, they just kind of do whatever seems politically popular at the time. So that is what it is. So yeah, I mean, overall, like I said, I don't really feel like differently, especially like say considering everything in the context of the last video. Like I said, for the most part, still feel pretty much myself, just happier, freer. But anywho, again, so I had to work to get to that sort of area so I could freely be myself. Again, because America likes to pretend it's so far past beyond its history, even though history kind of, for every human being, so, even though we want to pretend like societies are made of human beings, your history kind of informs where you are presently. If you don't know your history, you're doomed to repeat it. So, America likes to pretend like, slavery is just something that, happened way in the past and doesn't. Oh my God. Likes to pretend, slavery is something way in the past, even though they still have slavery-like mentalities when you think of work and things like that, and how people feel entitled to you and your body. But yeah, let's pretend like, America's so past that. Anywho, so yeah, like I said, for the most part, feeling, myself, just kind of physically the changes are happening. And I guess a part of that is the fact that I actually mentally, emotionally stopped trying to appear to fit masculinity and manhood actually in high school, around the time that I came out as gay. Yeah. So that was one of those things that's just kind of, because people project onto me manhood, it could just exist in the background. And again, people being well trained in, certain schools of perception meant I could, again, literally not even try, and people just like would assume, and therefore, I didn't have to be as afraid in regards to the effects and harm and trauma of transphobia. So yeah, and physically in regards to like clothes, body language, and stuff like that, I haven't tried to appeal or conform to notions of manhood for the last 3-4 years or so. So yeah, at this point the only thing that was left was maybe 3 or 2 years, but yeah, at this point the only thing that was left was the actual medical, transition, which again was in part to help with the transphobia, because again, the spiritual and the natural people among us, they didn't notice the mental, emotional transition that happened, what is it, a decade or so ago? But once it got physical, suddenly, and, the label changed, suddenly those people, had an issue. So for all those people that claim they're doing their transphobia out of religion and whatnot, like I say, again, they didn't really notice until the physical and upfront label sort of stuff changed. And so, yeah, the medical is just kind of helping deal with that sort of issue, since, again, the spiritually blind couldn't see the transness until there was, medical physical changes. And also, like I said, because again, the consequences of dealing with the spiritually blind impact on my life growing up, again, it does help me undo some of that damage in regards to my being. So yeah. Yeah, and so part of the reason why I decided to take the next steps in my transition relative to high school, because again, that's a pretty big gap, was because one of my fellow queer sibs, when I was out here getting to know people, basically casually let me know, like, oh yeah, non-binariness has reached mainstreamness. Because again, when I was younger, I always knew I wasn't quite fitting the definition of a man or a woman. But again, by the time I was able to talk to other queer folk around, the time I turned 18, even queer folk, very few of them knew what non-binary was. So, it's kind of like, so I didn't really come out to everybody as non-binary then, because it's kind of like, if you're in the middle of America, why are you gonna speak Japanese to people that only know English? If they don't know nothing about no Japanese, why are you speaking that? So like I said, some of my fellow queer siblings in the past, 5-10 years was like, oh yeah, it's more known now. I was like, oh really? So because again, I've always known this is who I am, this is my label, regardless of whether or not, again, you've been trained or, trained to see or trained to not see who I am. So let me go ahead, officially, more directly, let people know it is what it is. It's been what it is. And so, yeah, that's why, again, more recently, when we're talking about on the time scales of years or so, yeah, let them know. And yeah, just be myself. And plus, during that time, seeing the progression of trans women being recognized, because again, growing up, they were definitely being demonized. So again, seeing that progression, as slow as what it was/is, and again, coupled with people finally having some concept of what non-binary or genderqueer, gender fluid, etc. is, I was like, okay, well, seems like a good time seems like a good portion of the population at least will at least, understand. So yeah, maybe I'll do additional add-ons, but that's it until the next video. So yeah, definitely let me know in the comments below, like, share, subscribe, what you would like me to talk about in the next video, questions or things you might have, and I'll make sure to get to it. Yeah, later.